Welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson. I wanted to take a few moments on the beginning of the program today to just kind of give you a little bit of a ministry update of what's happening here at theDove and kind of get you up to date on some of the things that we've been involved in. As you know, last week I was gone most of the week, and I was in international board meetings with the United Christian Broadcasters as we meet annually somewhere in the world, and it just happened to be in Australia this year. And Australia in itself is quite a remarkable country, to say the least, but what's really happening over there is what's happening through Christian media. And it's simply amazing. As I met with our good friend Ian Werby, who's the CEO of UCB Australia, and through about 15 years of hard work over there, and all kinds of obstacles, as you can imagine, when you do something for the Lord, you get pushback. They now cover the entire nation with 625 radio stations, and every one of those is a miracle. And the response coming in from throughout the country has just been remarkable. And the word for you today, I think they're printing a little over about 125,000 copies of the word for you today. As you know, theDove puts out a copy like this, and they're customized for each ministry. And our good friend Bob Gass writes these devotionals, and they're being printed all over the world. Also, we met with other folks from South Africa, from England, from France, parts of the world that it's just amazing to see what the Lord is doing through Christian media. And you got to remember, folks, in America we have so much of everything that it ends up being competitive. Well, in some of these countries, they are just getting the word for you today or getting Christian broadcast media for the first time. And they are so delighted, such is the case in South Africa. And we're now getting into Madagascar with Word for You Today and with radio stations. All throughout Europe, I can't tell you all the stories that we heard about what God is doing through the Word for You Today throughout Europe and some of the broadcast radio stations that we have in France and Estonia, England, to say the least. I can't even remember them all. But there's just tremendous work going on throughout Europe, and the response has just been through the roof. The whole world is upside down. I don't know of a country out there that doesn't have problems. Now, is this biblical? Certainly seems to be to me. And so the whole world is looking for answers, looking for truth. And they turn to Christian media to see if this Christian thing really is real or not. Well, it is, as we all know, and the response to the outpouring is phenomenal. We've had nothing but very positive reports from going into Cuba with the Word for You Today and our organization that we belong to. So when you support theDove and you're supporting the Word for You Today that you get through theDove, you're helping us support the Word for You Today literally around the world. And we have gone into Cuba with the Word for You Today, and we as an organization had to fund that ourselves in order to get it started in there. Well, it's up over 50,000 copies. It's being printed literally in a barn in Cuba, and you have to use government paper. They won't let Bibles in Cuba. So many pastors are getting a copy of the Word for You Today and weeping because finally now they have some Christian literature that has Bible references in it that they can use to minister to their people in. It's just amazing, and it's growing like crazy. Hold in my hand here a copy of the Word for You Today, now being distributed in Nepal. We have one here from Papua New Guinea. We met with some folks, Ian Werby, who is from Australia. He is now putting radio stations up on the Solomon Islands and in the Cook Islands. And those islanders now, for the first time, are hearing Christian radio. And what happens so often is that the local pastor will go into the radio station and begin to give his weekly message there. And then the parishioners are in villages around the various parts of the island, and they'll sit around with their radios in groups and get their Bible lessons that way. So in some ways, a lot of parts of the world remain somewhat primitive, and yet there are a lot of first world countries out there as well. But that's what I was involved in. I sit on this international board with these gentlemen, And to hear the stories of what God is doing around the world is absolutely encouraging. It's just overwhelming at times. It gives me a lot of faith and hope, helps me focus back on that what we do here at the Dove really is changing lives. And then when it was time for me to give our report, they were amazed on how God has blessed the Dove and how God is using the Dove. You know, we're averaging about 90,000+ YouTube downloads a month worldwide through the Dove. Whether it's through the internet or through Roku or whatever means of YouTube and everything else, it's amazing that how the Lord is using the content that we develop here at the Dove and use it to minister to people's lives literally around the world. And so we thank you for your support. And you probably have heard this week, and I was gone all last week, but as you heard this week, we have been in a little bit of a shortfall in our finances. And this is always interesting, and it's very difficult to manage at times and frustrating, you know, to say the least. But everything we do here at the Dove is pretty lean. I can tell you that. There's no fancy things here. Our goal is to get the gospel on every platform that is available out there. The digital platform, the radio platforms, the television platforms. We just want to put good content out there that strengthens people in their walk with the Lord, gives them encouragement, gives them hope. And that's what it's all about. And since the Dove has grown into television, has grown into other radio stations, our obligations monthly here at the Dove to keep this network going is a huge monthly step of faith. Sometimes I wake up in a chill wondering, we're going to make it this month. Because it's a big obligation when you're dealing with radio towers and television towers and all the equipment. Things do break, they do go down, things stop working. You know that. You probably experienced that in your own life with all the technical things we have. It's wonderful to have all this technology and to have all this equipment, but you also know that it breaks and sometimes it goes down. So we try our best to make everything stretch. But from the first of the year to where we are now here in the middle of March, we have been running at about a 40,000, well, it's coming down. I would say somewhere around, I haven't seen the numbers, so forgive me here, but it's somewhere around $40,000 short in our budget for this first quarter. That's a lot of money, and it's a lot of money for us when we try to stretch it every which way that we can to keep this network going. And I might add that we have incredible opportunities in front of us, but we just don't have the resources to go down some of those roads. But there is a hunger for the gospel. There is a hunger for good programming. There's a hunger for truth, unlike anything I've ever seen. In my 40-some-odd years of broadcasting, I have never seen a response to Christian media like it's now happening, not only through the Dove, but literally around the world. So I want to say thank you to the many of you who support us month in and month out. I can't tell you what that does to the overall planning. It helps me to manage the budget. And I want to say thank you to many of you who always send in a little extra when we have these shortfalls like we're in right now. Thank you for your step of faith. And I always say don't take from your church or any other ministry. And I want to make sure that that really is the case for you. Please don't take from your church. That's your first obligation. If you are a member of your church, your resources and your support goes there first. And it could be through your church or other means that you've been called to support another ministry. And there are great ministries around your area and our area here as well. Great parachurch ministries that are doing a fabulous job out there. And maybe God's got you involved in one of those. You support them first. But if the Lord's leading you to support the Dove, pray about it and only do what He's leading you to do. Think of it this way. If the Dove and all of its content and with all the programs and the teaching and the various things that we do, if it's ministering to you, help us, because it is ministering to others as well in ways that sometimes we just can't believe when we get a letter who saw what and where they saw it or heard it. So thank you. But we are down for this first quarter. It's not a healthy position to be in. So if the Lord is leading you to support us, you can call us anytime at 541-776-5368. Again, that's 541-776-5368. It's really easy if you go to our website. Our website is totally secure. And I want to tell you that we really work hard to make sure that that is secure. And if that's convenient for you, you can support the Dove through the website at theDove.us. But again, pray about it. Make sure it's a joy for you to do it, and only do what the Lord is leading you to do, okay? But thank you for whatever you can do to help us through this time and get back on track so that we can continue on with the work that God has called us to do. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Media has become the greatest mission field in America, and at the front of that field is the Dove. But nothing here happens without your help. In fact, this week we send out an email letting you know what's going on at the Dove and also explaining to you why your help is critical right now. The amount is between you and God, but if you have been praying about supporting the Dove, give us a call or go to our website, theDove.us. And by the way, if you've never received our emails, while you're at our website, go to the homepage and right there at the top, sign up for our ministry updates. And again, thank you for supporting the Dove. I'm Paulina Leiser, producer of Focus Today. Thank you for watching this video, and make sure to check our other videos at theDove.us.